Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guests for all the way from Canada. Let's welcome Martika. How are you doing?
I'm great, and how are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to our show. So, I would like to give a brief intro, and then it'll be followed by, of course, better intro from Martika herself. She is a well-known author, and let's hear from her about her book as well as her journey. So tell us about yourself a little bit.
Well, I'm a counselor, author, and podcaster. I wrote a book years ago now. It's called Having Fun with God. And it's basically about my relationships with my family. My mom passed away, and it was kind of like a domino effect. After she passed, my grandmother passed, then my grandfather, then my uncle, then my father, and then a cousin committed suicide. Not all at the same time, but within a few years apart. And after the last death, my cousin who committed suicide, she was 15 years old. She hung herself. I found her. And some people deal with grief in different ways. Me, at that point, I didn't think counseling would help. I took off. I went to the Bahamas where I was born. I grew up in Canada, and I spent a couple years there just trying to, I guess, deal with that, with not dealing, I guess. And it was only when I came back to Canada in 2006, I started writing about a year after that. And it became a memoir. I just started writing one day, and it became the most therapeutic healing as far as loss went. And a lot of answers were revealed in the process of writing, and a lot of healing and peace of mind. I never thought I would have peace of mind over so many deaths, but that's what it yielded. Mm-hmm.
Yes, first of all, sorry about your losses, and there are no words, words can only help a little bit, but the actual lost person who goes through is very painful. And, sorry to bring that memory with discussion.
Oh, that's quite all right.
So we just wanted for people to actually realize that there are ways, where to handle grief, and I think this will be a great topic to discuss that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, there is a domino effect. I think one thing I've seen is when people go through hard time or any stressful situation, they might think most of us, and we pray and we hope that is the only small thing they are facing with. Somehow I have seen always and experienced myself that when you are down or when you are vulnerable, a lot other worse things start happening. And because I think because you are not in the best situation to handle things, and then and somehow things can go really bad, and people around you, somehow they also are, some are supportive but the others are not. I mean, they sound supportive but they are not as supportive as they should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some people don't know um, how to deal with other people that are grieving. They don't know what to say. I've been there, even though I've been through it myself. You don't know what to say. They're in such a delicate state that even saying hello, they might get upset because,
Mm.
they're in a state, especially in the very beginning, in the denial and the anger state. They're numb. It
That's
can be
how.
very hard. It's sometimes just listening and just being there is the best thing you can do.
And that is true. I think what so I will go a little more detail on that. So what things you found was helpful was that somebody basically approaching you and say how you doing, or was that anything you need from me, anything I can help. So what did you find was helpful if somebody asks you those particular questions, so people can maybe help others.
Hmm. Yeah, what I found helpful was just being present, just somebody
Mhm.
being there, listening.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's the smallest things, like,
Hmm.
you know, reminding you to eat. Sometimes you don't feel like eating and you should eat, but
Hmm.
just having somebody there just to, offer you something without saying, "Are you hungry?" Just here's something to eat. Um, Music is another way to heal.
Hmm.
Yeah, music. I found music, whether it's, if you're angry, you're listening to angry music, or
Hmm.
something more subdued because you're sad, music that'll make you cry, that helps, because feeling is healing. One of my other guests had said that to me before, and I love that phrase, feeling is healing. So when you're feeling the sadness, feeling the anger, um, feeling depressed, just to
Hmm.
be with that until it passes, because what you resist persists, and then it could be decades before you actually are forced to deal with the grief.
Hmm.
And then you're not really living fully when you're going through all of the stages, but it's expected when you lose someone that you love, because it can be to the point where people are suicidal.
Hmm.
They don't want to live without their loved one. It's very difficult, especially if it's a sudden death.
Mm. And that is true. And I think absolutely right, especially if your relationship or whatever is the situation, if it's more than certain time, because it could be your even pet, and people have really became very suicidal even after losing anything they love or they attach over time, because that becomes part of your norm, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Your routine is totally obstructed, or your routine is totally it's been disturbed by the loss of the whoever this person or pet was in your life. You're now having to adjust your lifestyle and your routine, and it can be very difficult.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell me also things. Did you find more support from friends, family, or unknown?
Family, yeah, family was very supportive. I found friends. Well, I was 15 when I lost my mom, and so we were all teenagers, and they didn't know anything about loss, just like I didn't know anything about loss. And because they could sense that I was very angry, uh, many of them just kind of left me alone, which was probably the best thing at that time in my life, was to be kind of left alone, because I was angry, and I was just taking it out on whoever was there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't fair to my classmates or friends to take out my anger on them. So for me, it was just a lot of solitude in the beginning, listening to music, a lot of crying, trying to deal with the anger without harming myself or others. I was very blessed to have divine intervention. Yeah, to prevent me from killing myself, because
Mm-hmm.
I did attempt that after my mom died. About a week after she died, I tried myself to go the same way she did, which she jumped off a bridge and landed in the park. And there was a park underneath the bridge, and we lived in a high-rise apartment building on the 20th floor. And so I tried to do the same thing,
Oh.
but a force of some kind knocked me back into the living room. And, anger is something that, if you're not dealing with it, it can come out in
Mm.
unwanted ways. So I was very grateful that I had some kind of guardian angel or spirit guide helping me to prevent myself from killing myself or others.
Mm. And that, I think, that could be divine intervention. So what you're saying is, you something stopped you from doing. You almost thought of doing same thing, but somehow were back. And
Yeah.
today, I'm glad you did that. Now you are talking and telling all
Mm.
that. So do you think, for your mom, it was unknown or totally unexpected, or was she sad or depressed before?
Oh, she was very depressed. She was in a marriage that was not going very well, and of course, in Catholic faith, divorce is a sin. So our family, considers that sort of thing frowned upon, which most of society does. But she just tried to get help, and I think that was the only way that she found for herself to get out of the marriage, was to actually end her own life, to death do you part. So it was very hard for me to understand that at 15. It took me a long time to forgive her, to forgive my mom for leaving me. And now our relationship is better than ever. She's with me in spirit.
Mhm.
She guides me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that is true that she's with you. She's at better place for sure, and she's looking from above and making. You're absolutely right. Spirits are always around you. So tell me, I did not know that. That is that still true that they have believed that, because I know about our religion and I know about
Mhm.
some other religions, that they believe that divorce is not, of course, I don't think divorce is good in any religion, but yeah,
Mhm.
but it is not definite kind of to end your life. That's not, I think, recommended. So but that this is it true? Is that still hold true now, or is it changed now?
Sorry, what were you asking that holds true?
So is that, I said, you said in Catholic faith
Oh,
there.
does it still hold true that it's a sin to get divorced?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you, because I don't follow it. I left practicing it when I was 15, actually, after she died. And so I really don't know
Mm.
what it if it still holds true. But
Oh,
I think
okay.
if you're in a relationship that is toxic and very damaging, and if your life is at risk, I think it's important to leave, regardless of what
Yeah,
religious
yeah, whatever.
beliefs. Yeah, yeah,
So it's not nothing to do with religion. I don't think any religion propagates that or says it's okay. So I
yeah.
think people do the misinterpretation. So
Hmm.
that is. So tell me about, where do you see, right now I'm sure you see a lot of people around you, and your friends, or they're dealing with mental health. Do you see kind of some similarities with your situations, and somehow it is still a big problem?
Yes. Oh, yes. It's very similar. I've been reaching out to people that have mental health, or podcasters that deal with that, because it is almost it's pretty much it's almost the same thing. You're dealing with whether it's depression or anxiety, suicidal thoughts.
Hmm.
It's very common in grief, and so I know what it's like, and so this is why I've decided to do this work. Um, yeah, recently, just a couple years ago, although it was something that I kind of felt I should be doing, but I resisted it because death and loss and grief are dark topics. They're not fun. And I wrote a book called Having Fun with God, because God just is another word for life. I'm not religious, but once you overcome all the grief, you've gone through all the stages, you have a better understanding of life and death, that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, that we cannot be killed. You cannot kill energy, that energy just transforms.
Hmm.
um, I would like to help people that are stuck in their grief, because you can be stuck for decades before you actually forgive yourself, forgive the person that passed away, and start to have new relationships with other people and with the loved ones that have passed away. You could still have relationships with them, but it's just in a different form. They're no longer in the physical, so you have to adjust that they're not, you can't see them, but they're there.
Yeah, and I think it's important for everybody to realize that once you forgive anything, you are actually releasing yourself from the negativity. You're not helping your situation at all. So actually, that's true. You forgive other person, or or but actually you forgive yourself first, because you are releasing from all the negative energy, and you are going to actually feel free. Lord, I'm sure you felt a lot of freedom, or you felt
Oh
free.
yeah, it's like a weight lifted off. You don't have this dark cloud around you. You feel lighter and looser.
Loser.
Yeah.
And you can still communicate, like you said, you have good memories of your mom,
Hmm.
and the part, and she still is with you in spirits, right? You
Hmm.
can feel her presence, right? So that is important, right?
Yeah, very much. It's very healing. To forgive is healing on both ends for yourself and for others. Yeah.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about the book. I know you mentioned that your book, when did you start writing?
I started writing it in 2007, and I finished it in 2010.
And how was that experience writing book?
Oh my God. Um, it was like emotional roller coaster ride.
I know.
Actually, I hit every emotion you could think of, and I had to forgive all of the people that I wrote about: my mom, my grandmother, grandfather, all the people that left me, all the people that are still here. There's questions like, why didn't somebody help? But you don't know what other people are going through or what they're thinking about.
Mm,
So you cannot, point fingers at, okay, this person's death could have been prevented, but things happen the way they happen. And Spirit would even say, trust the process, see the perfection. And this is what I was hearing as I'm writing, to get a better understanding of, why things happen the way they happened. And sometimes we don't see the perfection. We can't see it. Why is it perfect that somebody died right when you need them?
yeah.
But my mom dying at 15 years old, I grew up fast. Emotionally, I grew up fast.
Mhm.
And so now I'm grateful that as an adult, can take care of myself. I can be productive and contribute to society in a positive manner.
Mm. So, so what you are saying is that taught you a lot. You grew up way faster than you have.
Yes.
Probably this wasn't a tragedy, and that's true. A lot of people, that kind of helps to actually help you in terms of your healing, not only healing but growth. But main thing is if you can overcome that, that's number one point. Because let's say if some people they feel very sad or depressed, and they have to struggle, then unfortunately they can take longer than actually. uh, so the healing part, I think you probably heal better on that, and you grasp that situation. Although it was very sad and still sad, I think we can still feel the emotions you're trying to tell us. And then it is, I'm sure, but you took it positive, and you really, it helped you. So also tell me a little bit, I'm sure when you were writing book, and you must have felt that you have gone through so much, and it's all that journey. Did that flashback to you also?
Well, yes, I had to relive everything that I had, and you know what? It was the best therapy. I had gone to therapists, counselors after my mom died, and and it wasn't as effective as it was to actually write, because writing creates thinking.
Mm,
Now, a good teacher of mine told me that, and of course, I'm like, duh. Of course, you have to think before you write, but it
mm,
actually creates a deeper thought.
mm.
And all these epiphanies came to me that I never saw before. But it's kind of when you take a step back and look at the picture and really see the whole picture, that you have an understanding. Oh, okay, that's why this had to happen in order for that to happen.
Mm, mm.
But they say no pain, no gain. Because if we're happy and content all the time, we wouldn't grow.
That's
So
true.
death is part of the growing.
That's true. Also, want to ask you, when people they are writing, they might find their emotions. they're actually therapeutic in a way that you are kind of more confused. But as your thoughts, you read back your thoughts, you say, okay, wait a minute, I am having so many, or this thought is connected to that memory or thing. So you might find a solution to your thinking process actually, and it clarity, more clarity for sure, can actually happen to you, and that might help to heal way better, faster, right? So, like you said, people say you have to think before write, but sometimes you can, like you can say, talk and yell in when nobody is listening because you want to express the grief, right? So it's same way. Some of the writing you don't have to think; you just keep writing, and then helps you to actually relieve yourself, right?
Oh yeah, it does help you reflect upon things and see it from a different perspective.
Mm.
And then, okay, okay, that makes sense. And it's just the littlest things that can make a huge difference. And I had so many epiphanies while writing it. I thought I could write a book about writing the book.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. You never thought you would write a book, right?
And no, it was automatic writing. I felt it was channeled, most of it. It
Mm.
was because there were some memories in there. For example, I talk about my parents' meeting. I never knew how my parents met. I don't recall my mom ever telling me how my parents met, but yet I'm writing in the book how they met. So I was always doubting myself, like, is this true?
And were you able to figure that out?
Well, that's the thing. Both of my parents have passed when I was writing it.
Oh,
So,
so you don't know.
and of course, my grandparents, they had passed. They would have known. The only living relative that would know is my aunt, and I'm not even sure if she knew how my parents met.
Ah, so that.
So I mean, it wouldn't, even if it wasn't true, it wouldn't be that much of a lie. But I'm pretty sure they met when she went to the Bahamas on vacation and met my father. He's a entertainer at the time.
Mm.
And I guess she liked his show. And
And
then they started dating from there.
okay, great. Okay, so anyways, thank you for sharing all that. And I would just say, takes a lot of courage to share that painful memory, and not only that, but whole journey. I'm sure it kind of brings back all those stress. So once again, thank you. But for audience, I just want to again emphasize on mental health. Make sure, there are a lot of things can be wrong in terms of unfortunately, with brain, it is not obvious because it's not like obvious bruise outside or broken bone or fracture that you can see. And so make sure you see counselor, make sure you share and your family, and make sure you talk to someone at least, so that helps to get your thoughts healing going on. And make sure seek the proper care. If you're suicidal, of course, you get the proper care. Call 911 if it's pretty bad. You can't handle. But like Martika said, it is very important that you take care of yourself and your loved ones. So there is somebody who really loves you, and so you don't want to make them sad by this. So with these actions, Martika, thank you for coming and sharing once again your story. And any final words would you like?
If anyone's interested in reading my book, it's called Having Fun with God. It's available on Amazon. Just for those of you who are having a tough time grieving, maybe reading a story about somebody else that had gone through it might make you feel that you can overcome as well.
Yeah, and that is support system, and that is very good. Usually, if you see that, you read it, you feel that you're not alone in this world that had so many problems. So, and how you dealt with it is amazing. Okay, well, I hope you definitely take care of everyone, and you take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.